Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of season 2 of the A Bit of AI show. In this episode, we will talk with Tanya about her life in AI. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the A Bit of AI show. My name is Henk Bolman. I'm a white male with brown hair wearing glasses, and today I'm wearing a dark red shirt with a Microsoft sweater, which is gray.
Wonderful. And hi, my name's Amy. I'm a female with blonde hair, and today I'm wearing a white shirt and it's got yellow hearts on it.
And once again, welcome everyone to the A Bit of AI show. And this show is all about people that work in AI, the people behind the AI systems. Because in our jobs, Amy and me meet many people around the world, and we noticed that there are so many different people involved of actually building an AI system that is in production. So in this show, we try to find out how people got to that point in their career and what they're actually doing during the day. And in this show, we will talk with Tanya. And as always, everything can be found on our website, abitofai.show.
Fantastic. And as always, I have a few of the logistics to share with you. So after the show, you're more than welcome to join us in the A Bit of AI Cafe. It's a space where we can get together after the show and have those side conversations that we used to have when we were in person and networking at meetups. So if you want to join us, it's straight after the show in 30 minutes time, and you can go to aka.ms/abitofai-cafe. So hopefully we'll see you there. It's always good to chat.
Cool. So let's get Tanya into the show. Hi, Tanya. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey. Very good, very good. It's so great to have Tanya on the show, as me and Hank used to work with Tanya, which is wonderful. So it's been so good to catch up in our prep session and kind of check out what you're up to. But Tanya, they're not here to listen about who we used to work with. They're here to listen about you. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I want to introduce myself. I am Tanya Lard. I am a female with short purple hair. I'm also wearing glasses and a matching lilac jumper that also has a colorful python wearing a hat. It's like a bit out there. Since I left Microsoft, now I am working as a co-director in Quantsite Labs, which is a non-profit innovation labs for open source projects.
Very, very cool. And can you tell us a little bit, break down Quantsite? Because when I went to the website and I was kind of having a good look at what, there's like two sides to the business, isn't there? Can you let us know a little bit more what you kind of do at Quantsite?
That's correct. So we have Quantsite as an organization. One side of it operates mostly as a consultancy business for data science, machine learning. So that means that we have clients spanning all different kinds of industries, from banking to energy to research. And then we have the other side of the organization, which is actually the one that I'm co-directing with Ralph Gomers, and that is Quantsite Labs. That's the non-profit side. And our main mission is empowering and sustaining open source projects and our community. So we do a lot of innovation, like trying to do a bit of an R&D, the kind of things to improve libraries, like build new features, build new tools, and also make sure that, we can keep on living all of those open source projects that all the community, all the data science community rely day by day.
I love that. I was going to say, really open source is so well used, specifically in data science as well. And so, having that kind of maintenance of these different packages and you and your team, paying so much close attention to them, obviously means that they get better all the time. So that's really, really exciting. One thing we ask all of our guests, because titles and what companies do and stuff like that, we all know that the day job sometimes looks a little different. So what does an average day in your job look like, Tanya? Are you coding a lot? Are you talking to people a lot? Like, what's the balance?
So I would say my day, like it's divided in 3 equal parts. I say equal because it's not always the same. So 30% of my time corresponds to technical work. It can be either working directly on clients' projects or sending pull requests, making features on different open source projects, mostly like on develop side of things, operation side of things for machine learning. Then other 30% of my time is more about strategic work, meaning the direction and leadership of labs, doing boring things like funding, writing grants so that we can continue funding the open source projects that we work with. And then the other 30% of my time is managing basically a team of open source developers that are distributed all across the world. But of course, I also do a lot of outreach, like coming here, speaking at different conferences. I sit in different board of directors. So I also try to fit that into my non-existent, let's say 10 or 20 extra pot in my job. So I do have to do a lot of balancing, like all of these responsibilities.
I love that. I love that. And yes, no, it's definitely a big call out. A lot of people on the show that we have on as guests are, we believe, very important because they promote kind of community. And you're a huge part of Pi Ladies, right? For those, for anyone out there who wants to kind of get involved in community.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'm currently sitting in the Pi Ladies Global Council. And well, we're basically the top body that makes sure that all of the other chapters, because we have like so many chapters distributed around the world. So we provide basic infrastructure support. We help them to actually, well, if someone wants to start a new chapter in a location where there is not a Pi Ladies chapter, we help them with that initial starting of their chapter. We do a lot of things around like code of conduct, make sure that they have all the tools to actually run different events and initiatives across the world.
That's awesome. I was going to say, way back when, Pi Ladies and R Ladies, I think, are the 2 best hackathons I've ever been to. Like, I just enjoyed them so much. Yeah, anyway, side note, go check out those communities. Another community for people to go and join that we mention on this show. You also have, and the kind of the personal side of your life, you have some wonderful dogs. Do you have time to get out and about? How do you balance those time zone issues?
Wow. So my dog actually is a big part of what actually helps me keep my work-life balance. I have to be honest, before having a dog, I could just like so easily work super focused on something and forget about breaking or sometimes having lunch. But now my dog is a very part of my routine. In the morning, we go out for a long walk. It can be anything from like 40 minutes to an hour. Then during lunch, we go for another walk. Sometimes I have meetings, so my significant other has to take the dog actually. And then in the evening, we do the same. One of the problems is, well, not a problem, like something that is different to other places that I've been on is my team is highly distributed, and a lot of the people that I actually manage are in America's time zone. So now I'm starting work a bit later than I used to. So I am exercising in the morning and then starting my work day, break for lunch, come back, and yeah, just crack on with stuff. Normally afternoons are pretty busy with calls because yeah, like team and leadership and clients tend to be everywhere. But yeah, I think my dog really helps me to be focused and like be more mindful about taking breaks, like exercising in the morning, not being sat down for 12 hours or 10 hours, how many hours?
Or just being in the same room. Do you ever, I feel like I've shared this probably loads on this show, but you know that like, especially going into winter over here in Europe, those times when it starts to get darker earlier, and then you suddenly realize you're sitting in a dark room with lots of screens staring at you, and you're like, whoa, I need to stand up and move here. This has been in one place for way too long. But you've heard it here first, team who are watching. Get a dog. It gets you into really good exercise patterns. There we go. Henk, over to you. You have some more questions about kind of how Tanya got to where she is, because she's so successful.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm always really interested in how you get from where you started. You went to school somewhere. You started something to actually this point in your career. So can you tell a little bit about your journey?
Right. So as many other people in this space or in tech and machine learning, I don't have like a very direct route into machine learning. So I actually started from a mechatronics engineering because I've always liked multidisciplinary kind of projects and things, and a chance. But after I went into there and in my master's and started working, I realized that I really liked the computer science or like the programming side of things. So when it was time for me to choose what I wanted to do a PhD in, I found a project that was, again, like multidisciplinary. It was into material science, but it was not traditional material science kind of project in which you're like in the lab all the time and the real samples, but it was more on pure optimization, which is like machine learning applied to bioengineering and biomaterials. So as I was doing that, I realized like, I really enjoy doing all of this programming stuff. I got very deep into all of the PyData or scientific computing Python libraries. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I got to meet some people that were labeled as research software engineers at the University of Manchester, and I just got to talk to them a lot because of I was the only one doing computational kind of work in materials. So I relied a lot on their expertise and their best practices, and I was like, oh, this is something that I want to do. So when I finished my PhD, instead of going through or down the traditional academic route of like going into lectureships, senior lecture, and all of that, I just decided to go down the research software engineering path, which has taken me to like different universities, different startups, Microsoft, Quantside Labs, and now what I do, I do machine learning for like in so many like I would say full stack machine learning that goes from applied data science projects to MLOps, all of the operation side, and like making sure that you can put things into production, how you take things from R&D into production, to actually working on the infrastructure and tools that's above the data science ecosystems. So yeah, I think it's well varied. I think I always had, as I said, I had always had this interest in like different projects with different scopes, different disciplines. And yeah, I finally made it. Like I get to put my fingers in many different areas and many different disciplines with machine learning.
Great, interesting. How big was the role of community in your career path?
Huge. I would say if I hadn't gotten involved in a community or like if I weren't part of the different communities I belong to, I doubt my career or my journey would look like this way. Especially when I was doing my PhD, I used to feel very isolated because it was so different other people have or in my institute were doing. So I was always the weird one that was at this intersection of computer science, mathematics, material science. So when I found this research software engineering community and the carpentries, I was like, oh, there are other people. So I just started getting into the Python community, the R community. And I just felt like I found my tribe, like my people, because they were doing incredible things. They were doing a very wide variety of things with Python. Again, like microcontrollers or network stuff, DevOps stuff, web, like all across. And they were just so welcoming. So I just decided to put a lot of time and effort in being part of the community, building communities. I also have been very, very lucky because of this involvement or me being so active and proactive. I've gotten to get like really good mentors that have helped me throughout different different periods in my career, and some of them are now like really good friends of mine. So I think I am a lot of my career path and journey is thanks to the community. Like the community has played a massive role for me to be here where I am.
Great to hear. Then it can't be all good and nice and so on. So the question for me, what I always ask everyone is, what is the most annoying thing in your role in AI?
I just have to choose one, right?
Yeah, just
I would say because a lot of us folks that work in machine learning or AI data science, we're very cool and let's say they're mathematics focused. But we always have to remember that data are people. Like a lot of the data that we work with represent individuals across the world. So something that really annoys me is that we focus a lot on the tech or it's scaling up or the tools and infrastructure, making better models. But in many projects, ethics is still an afterthought. Ethics should be a core part of your governance processes, the same way that we are paying so much attention in choosing which is the best framework, like, I don't know, PyTorch or TensorFlow, or how much data we're collecting, or like how much we're improving the performance or accuracy of our models. We should pay as much attention to ethical compliance, like the extent implications that what we're doing will have in society and people. And I don't think we have gotten to the point that ethics is the mainstream or like the norm of every project has an ethics component. I think that bothers me a lot, like that annoys me. I've seen like there are of course a lot of researchers and a lot of people out there that are being pretty good advocates and activists in the ethics area, but there is still much more that should be done.
Yeah. Oh no, very good call out. Thanks for sharing that one. Remember when we're talking to Tanya, you can join us in the cafe afterwards. I've already noted down a few things. I want to dig into mentors with you. I want to dig into some of the amazing projects you work on. But just before we let Tanya go, we have our quickfire question round. We have 6 questions for you, and we would like you to answer them, if possible, whatever the first thing that comes into your mind is. So whether it's a single word or, if you can, no more than a sentence long, we would really appreciate that. So, Tanya, are you ready for the quickfire round?
Okay, I think I am. I'll just have to psych me up. It's okay.
I know. I'm building it up. It's not actually that hard. It's not that big. So our first question in the quickfire round is hopefully a nice, easy one. What was your first computer?
I can't even remember that. I have no idea. It was a super old IBM. I am 100% sure.
Can you remember how old you were?
Probably 12. I was just using my mom's computer, really. Mostly to play things like Pac-Man.
Cool. Then this one. What programming language was used in the last project you worked on?
Python.
No.
There we go. That same answer again and again and again. But also, Tanya is an absolute Python expert. So to give context, I'm not surprised that she said Python just then. But yeah, next question. What is the most useful thing you've learned in AI?
Linear regression.
Yes. We love the basics.
What is your favorite event on the AI calendar?
Oh, not AI, but PyCon PyCon US.
PyCon US. Very nice, very nice. Is the next one coming up, or has it just been?
So the next one is coming up on the 2nd of May 2022, and it covers all of the uses of Python. So that covers AI and machine learning, of course.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, cool. Next question. So we're nearly at the end, Tanya. You're doing really, really well. What area of AI is on your list to skill up on next? So what are you looking to learn?
Oh, NLP. I would do NLP
Nice.
stuff.
We are there's still a lot of text out there to be analysed. Still a lot of text out there.
Yeah. And what was the first thing, project, or skill you built in AI?
Oh, I think it was my PhD thesis, actually. It was a big one. So, yeah.
Oh, can we get you to expand a little bit on that one? I'm going to break the rules a little bit on our quickfire questions. In that, was it like a package that you like learned to use in AI? So like the first thing you did in machine learning?
So it's the first proper project that was machine learning. Of course, because it was material science, we'd never call it machine learning, but it was like a ton of optimization, a lot of optimization. So I got to use, as I said, like the whole Python not scientific computing Python stack, like things like scikit-learn, pandas, NumPy, all of that.
Amazing. No, thank you for sharing, because it's always good, I think, we've added that question in. That's a new one for season 2, and we think it's quite important for those who are out there that aren't quite into machine learning AI yet to let everyone know, like, is there a pattern around the first thing people learn? So yeah, that's a really good one. NumPy, all those packages are very, very well used, and I guess quite a nice circle, because I guess now you're very much working still on those kinds of open source packages and just making them better and better.
Yeah, it feels like I've been using them and now like working on them for like forever. Like it feels so long. I just can't imagine me moving to something different, because I'm so used and so familiar with this stack. And honestly, I love it. I love the community. I love the projects, everything.
Oh, amazing. In the last minute that we have with you just here, Tanya, I just wanted to very briefly dig in. Do you have a process for learning all these different packages, these different technologies? Is there a way that you go about that?
I do a lot of reading of papers. I rely a lot on blogs of people that are like at the top of the field. I love going into papers with code. That is one of my favorite pages. And also a lot of the learning that I do is by doing hands-on work on specific projects as well. I think that works for me, learning by doing mostly.
Learning by doing. That's great. Well, Tanya, thank you so much. How quick does the show go when we're just chatting away and we have so many questions for you? As I always say, join us in the cafe. Tanya's going to be able to join us for 30 minutes. You might have just seen me writing down some stuff. These are literally questions that I want to ask Tanya a little bit more about. But don't let me take all of the time in the cafe. Join us, ask your own questions, and we can have a good chat after the show. But Tanya, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk through the amazing work you're doing now, and hopefully people can keep in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me around.
No problem. We'll see you very shortly. Fab. Okay, so in the last few minutes, Hank, we always do a bit of an announcement, don't we, as well as some of our resources. And this week, we actually wanted to announce a conference that's happening on Saturday in the UK. It is an in-person conference. And the reason we want to mention it is because Tanya, our guest, is actually keynoting at it. So it's called Developer, or DDD East Midlands. You can go and find that at dddeastmidlands.com if you want to go and see what's on. So even if it's not something you could make in person and you're from a different country or anything like that, still go and check out what some of the subjects are, what some of the resources are, and actually the great set of community people that sit behind this conference as well, because they do so much more than just an in-person conference. So that's on Saturday, the 2nd of October from 9 a.m. And it's free, it's in person if you're based in the UK. So yeah, good luck to Tanya. I'm sure she'll do an amazing keynote for those who are able to attend. And with that, we'll start to wrap up the show. Henk, is there anything else you're keen to share with us today?
No, actually not today.
No. I was going to say we've talked about Global AI Community back together last week. Go check out that. We'll just do a very, very brief plug for it. globalai.community. Go check out that website. Go see what it is. It's a community for everyone in AI who wants to get learning. And there's some cool stuff coming up with that as well. Okay, so we will wrap up the show today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope you enjoyed this show with Tanya Allard. You can catch up all episodes, be that we're in episode 3 now in this season, but you can catch all of them and season 1 by going to our website, abitofai.show. Don't forget, if I've not already said it enough in this session, join us in the A Bit of AI Cafe, a really nice sort of after-show experience where we can just talk and network and get to know each other as a community that watches the show. Go to ak.ms/abitofai-cafe or go to our website and it'll be in the top right corner. And with that, I want to thank you for watching. This has been A Bit of AI Show with Henk and Amy.